What's up, YouTube? Oh my goodness, I have not been here in probably like 2 months, right? Well, there's a reason for that. A lot has been going on. I did have my child. It is long awaited, long overdue that I sit here and tell y'all my labor and delivery story. I'm trying to be as quickly as possible and try not to forget anything because Kingston is napping, but he has been napping for almost 2 hours now. So he is definitely going to wake up soon and he's definitely going to want some food. So let's get into it. So it went like this. My due date was February 28th, the last day of February, and I did give birth to Kingston March 1st, 2018. My due date was extremely close to the date that I actually delivered. I actually thought I was going to give birth on my due date of February 28th, but we'll get into that. So when I was about 39 weeks pregnant, and I went in for my appointment, I had made no progression. My cervix was barely just a little bit open. I was only a half a centimeter dilated, not even a full centimeter dilated. So they also did the ultrasound to estimate how much my son would weigh. And that ultrasound came up to be 8 pounds 11 ounces, so almost a 9-pound baby was their estimation. I figured my son would be big because my stomach was huge. After like 35 weeks, my stomach was humongous. So I figured he would be big. My doctor had been telling me, asking me how do I feel about induction because I was 39 weeks. I also was not dilated. So she wanted to know how I felt about being induced. I said I don't have a problem with being induced. I just really didn't want a C-section. And that was just that. She kind of told me that, it is kind of a possibility, being that he looks to be on the bigger side. He could be bigger. And if you go to 41 weeks, he will definitely be bigger. You know what I mean? So their concern is, will I be able to push him through my pelvis? She looked at my pelvis. Now, mind you, the doctor that I had been seeing is actually not the doctor. She's actually the nurse practitioner. I just decided to go to her instead of the doctor who actually delivers because I always went to the nurse practitioner for my like my routine checkups and things like that before pregnancy. So I just decided to continue going to her. I was very, very sad at 39 weeks because I thought that I was probably going to have a C-section because I was like, that's just my life. That's what's going to happen. I'm going to have a C-section. And that was something that I really didn't want, although there's nothing wrong with having a C-section. I think other people's opinions and, just reading what they went through made me really not want to have one. So, yeah, so 39 weeks, sad, really sad about that. And I was really down and out thinking that I was going to have a C-section. So, fast forward to 40 weeks. I wasn't officially 40 weeks because every Wednesday I become the next week pregnant. So that Monday, the very next week, that Monday, I went to work. It was the 26th, February 26th. Remember, my due date was February 28th. So February 26th, I still went to work, and everybody was like, aren't you due in like 2 days? So the night of February 26th, I bounced on my exercise ball. Don't know if this had anything to do with anything, but before I went to bed, I said I'm just going to bounce for 15 minutes. And I would do that sometimes anyway. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to bounce for 15 minutes. Did that. So the morning of February 27th, I was crampy. Like, period crampy. Not intense, but just crampy. Which had been happening to me periodically anyway. As I was getting close to my due date, I was crampy. Anyway, it wasn't any contractions, just crampy. I went to the bathroom to start getting ready for work. And I noticed that I had bled. And it was not spotting, it was actual blood in the toilet and on my hand. I freaked out. I didn't know what the heck it was. I remember that my doctor said 2 things that will automatically bring you to the hospital is if your water breaks or if you start bleeding. You automatically come to the hospital no matter what. She said not spotting, blood. And I wasn't spotting. It was actual blood. Called my husband Dion, like, dude, I'm bleeding, I'm freaking out. I'm like so freaking scared because I'm thinking that something is wrong with the baby. I didn't know what the heck. He had we had just gotten off the phone, and he sped back because he was almost at work. Sped back, called his job, said, you know, my wife's bleeding, da da da. Of course, they already knew I was pregnant. They knew my due date, so on and so forth. He arrives here, and we're trying to figure out what hospital we're going to go to, because we had a hospital that's literally, I could walk to the hospital here, but the hospital where I was planning on delivering was 30 minutes away. We decided to just go to the hospital 5 minutes away instead of, because if something is wrong, they could get it sooner, quicker, instead of having to drive all the way up there, blah, blah, blah. We arrived at the hospital. They hooked me up to, you know, different tubes, all that stuff. They just wanted to monitor me to see what was going on. I was not in pain at this time. The cramping had subsided, was not having contractions. And by the end of it all, they said, you know, everything is normal. It's normal to bleed, you know, and that I was fine. That's what happened on the 27th, which was Tuesday. All right, next day, February 28th. That was my due date. I started feeling contractions. I didn't know if they were contractions, but I figured these have to be contractions because they were a little different from cramping, and that's what people kind of told me. I didn't have Braxton Hicks contractions my entire pregnancy. Only had like menstrual cramping, and to me there's a difference. I know to some people there ain't no difference, but to me there's a difference. And I definitely felt that these have to be contractions. The pain was probably about a 5. Pain was about a 5 or a 6 on a scale of 1 to 10. So I knew that my OBGYN, I knew that their office and everything closed at 4:30. When it got to be about 3:45, I wanted to call because I wanted to make sure I wasn't in labor, because one of the things my doctor told me is if I ever think that I'm in labor, I can always just, you know, call her, let her evaluate me, and let her, you know, see where I'm dilated, things of that nature. Because, of course, the hospital can be kind of brutal. They can definitely just send you back home. Deanna and I went up there. She said I was 2 centimeters dilated. She said we can still go, you know, downstairs, have them evaluate you and, you know, just see kind of what happens. And she recommended that I go ahead and do that. I said, okay, I'll do that. I was really, really nervous because one thing that my doctor would tell me is that, you know, contractions doesn't mean you're in labor. They count you being in labor when there is change in your cervix. When your cervix progresses, you know, opening up and things of that nature. She took me downstairs to labor and delivery unit and everything. They put me on the same monitors that I was on the previous day at the other hospital. And I was there for a few hours. And they finally told me, they even gave me some medicine. I don't remember what it was called, but it was like a pain medicine. But weird thing about it couldn't have been exactly pain medicine, but because they said it doesn't take the pain away, but it would just get your mind off of it, which I would say is an accurate description, because it didn't take the contractions away, but it kind of made me feel kind of loopy, like, you know, kind of like you had a few drinks or whatever. Like you feel like kind of good, like high. Really, that's the feeling. It made you feel like a high, and that felt good. I was like, this kind of feels good. Okay, yeah, I'm still contracting a little bit, but I'm kind of high, so you know, it's all right. The doctor that was supposed to be delivering my child was not on duty that night, so the doctor that they had on duty told me that I was in early labor. When her nurse checked me, she said I was 3 centimeters dilated. So my doctor said 2, but she said I was 3. And you know, different fingers, different whatever. So she said I was at a 3. They said this is early labor. And they said that this particular doctor does not take other people's patients and induce them. Because she said if my doctor was on duty, he would more than likely have induced me that night. Well, she said, I'm pretty sure when you come back tomorrow, because I had an appointment with my doctor anyway scheduled, my last appointment. I had that scheduled for the next day, which was March 1st. And so she said, I'm pretty sure when you come for your appointment tomorrow that your doctor's just going to say, let's just induce her. And I said, okay, fine. I'm going to try and get through these contractions tonight. She also told me and Dion to go home and have sex, basically. I'm thinking, I don't know how that's going to happen. I don't know how that's going to work because I'm in pain and I have contractions. So that's not sounding like that's going to happen, but that was cute. That was cute. So we left the hospital around 8:30. Got home. My contractions intensified. Dion and I, we stopped at Chick-fil-A, got some food. I didn't eat anything of it because I was in pain. The pain progressed every hour. It progressed. Man, I was in so much pain. I was in a ton of freaking pain. It got to a point where it was unbearable. Dion had fell asleep. I told him, go to sleep. Don't worry about me. I'm good. Blase, blase. My mom had texted me. You know, I told her, God is going to get me through this. We good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm okay. Because I didn't want her to worry. And I was praying. I didn't complain. Anybody didn't complain to my husband. Nobody. About 4 o'clock, Dion woke up. And I said, babe, this pain is at a 10. And I don't think I can do it. And I said, but I don't know. I don't want to get sent back home. I don't know if this is the real thing. I have no idea. I've never been through this before. I said, what do you think I should do? Do you think I should wait an hour, or you think we should just go back up to the hospital? He said, if the pain is at a 10, let's go back up to the hospital. Went back up to the hospital. Took that drive again. 30 minutes. 30-minute drive. Arrived about 4:30, 4:35. Scared out of my mind. That's my kid. So give me. I'll be back. I don't know if y'all can hear him, but he's crying. Okay, y'all. So I'm feeding him. So glad that we arrived at the hospital when we did. The nurse was super happy to see me. She said, I knew you'd be back. I knew you'd be back. Or whatever. She was like, did y'all do what I said? Meaning like the sex. Girl, no I didn't, but this pain is at a 10. And she said, you look totally different from what you did earlier. She knew that it was real labor because, you know, before I was at a 5. Now she could look and tell everything. She said, this is like a transformation. She was like excited. She said, I'm going to check your cervix. By this point, y'all, I was sick and tired of my cervix being checked. Like, that stuff gets sickening and annoying. Somebody constantly putting their fingers up you. Like, the mess is annoying, but you got to get it done, right? So she checked my cervix, and she said, do you want to know the number? And I was like, yes. She said, you're at a 7. I'm like, praise God, because I did not want to go back home. I knew if it was anything under 5, they were going to send me back home. So yeah, I was lucky because if I would have waited that hour that I thought about waiting, I wouldn't have been able to get the epidural, which I did want the epidural. Shout out to all the mothers, because I know some personally who have had their babies naturally. I know one of my friends had both of her babies naturally. And that is amazing. That's just something that she wanted to do and accomplish in her life, I guess. Me, God gave us medicine and gave us epidural. Thank you, God, for that, because that pain, I couldn't imagine, because once you get to 10 centimeters, the pain would have been even more intense, and I was at 7 centimeters. So I can't imagine being in any more pain and actually pushing a baby out in any more pain. I chose the epidural, and I'm happy about my decision. So because right then and there, she's like, okay, we can get ready for the epidural people to come in. First, they have to wait until my blood work comes back. So that was going to have to take 45 minutes. I said, fine. I got 45 minutes to be in this pain that I don't want to be in. But it's all good because the pain should all be over soon. The epidural people came in. My mom had came right before I was getting the epidural. My mom and Dion were the only two people that could be in there at the time because of the flu season and things like that. That was the hospital's policy. So, my mom and my husband had to leave while I was getting the epidural. I was scared as crap because I heard so much stuff about it. Like, I heard that, you can be paralyzed, you got to be really, really still. This is intense. I'm scared. And they were firm. Okay, the epidural people was not playing with you. They were like, look, keep still. Okay, you have to keep still. And I was having contractions still at this time. The nurse told me to hold her hand, and I about squeezed her hand off because I was so scared and I was so in pain. But I kept still enough, I guess. And they did tell me that, and I had to sign, all the stuff. But they did tell me that, the epidural may or may not work, basically. You may go numb only on one side, but this is all what comes with it. I was like, shoot, because I had heard so many stories of people saying that their epidural didn't do anything but make their right leg go numb or something like that, or something crazy, but they still felt all the contractions. I was scared as crap. That was not the case for me, thank God. My nurse, after they left, she told me, she was like, they have to say that to everybody, but she said this is gonna knock all of the pain out. And that's what happened for me. Within less than a minute, I can't remember exactly, but within a minute or less, I felt no pain. It was beautiful. It was like no pain. I felt no pain. It felt so good to not be in pain. Like, I felt nothing. I could go to sleep. Like, everything was knocked out. As time went on, when I was finally getting close to 10 centimeters dilated, and the doctor came in, broke my water, that kind of thing. My little boy was still not positioned down far enough. So she had, kind of like an exercise ball, like a smaller version on my leg, had my legs propped it up. She had me upside down on that bed. She had me on in every freaking position known to man, trying to get him down. And she would come back and check periodically every, hour or so. And finally, because she was saying, if we can't get this right, basically it's gonna have to be a C-section. But she said, I'm gonna try everything in my might not to have that happen. And she did that. And finally he was positioned down far enough. They said, let's go. Everything happened quickly once it was time to push. She let me get 2 practice pushes in. Well, probably more than that. She let me get a few practice pushes in. And then she was like, it's time to do it for real. She had my mom and my husband. My mom was holding one leg up. My husband was holding the other leg up. Like, it was a team freaking effort. Okay. And I was pushing for dear life. I only pushed for about 30 minutes. But I was so scared to really push because I was telling her, I said I could feel it. I can feel it. And she was like, she wasn't trying to give me more epidural because she was saying, she's like, can you feel the contractions? I was like, no, but I can feel my vagina being open right now. And she was just like, Well, you know, we want you to be able to feel a little bit so when you're pushing, so that when you're pushing, you you can feel that. You need to be able to feel while you're pushing. Okay, so nervous because I didn't really want to feel anything, but it's a good thing that I could kind of feel because, like she said, I could feel while I was pushing. So that's why it didn't take me as long as some other people to push. Yeah, I didn't know the nurses do the entire thing because she did the entire thing and called the doctor. And at the very last minute, there was even a point in time where she told me to touch. She put my hand and I could feel my baby's hair. And she said, that is your baby's head. And she said, push your baby out. She did not play with me. And I didn't want to be there all day. I got so tired of pushing at one point. I was like, dude, I can't do this, bro. Like, I got so tired of pushing. And her countdown, 1, 2, 3. I was just like, yo, I can't do this anymore. Finally I pushed for dear life. Like, when they say push like you're pooping, I pushed like I was pooping. And I did it for dear life because I was like, yo, we're not going to be here all day. I want this baby out of me, and I want him out of me as soon as freaking possible. And let's do this. You feel me? So, eventually my little munchkin came out. He came out at 12:06 p.m. on March 1st. So, he came out. And first when he came out, I was freaking out because he didn't cry. And I was like, why isn't he crying? And he came out purple and everything. They had to put the little oxygen mask on him. And he started crying eventually. They had to make him cry. They had to make you cry, right? So my little Buddha came out. And here he is. Look, munchies. Look, munchies. So that is my little boy. His name is Kingston Carter Allen, and he has been quite an adventure. So that is what happened. That's my labor and delivery story. I'm gonna upload stuff about postpartum, how that went, updates with him, because he is literally 2 months today. Today is May 1st that I filmed this. He's 2 months, so a lot has went on in those 2 months since he was born. But yeah, that is him. So I'm gonna get him together and situated since he's up now, and maybe get some lunch and stuff like that. So thank you guys so much for watching. There will be more videos posted soon. Sorry, he's just kind of chilling. He just woke up, so his little onesie's not together. He is chilling. But that is all for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Look at that, the people's eyebrow. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that, munchies. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Take care. Bye-bye.